Rob, according to reports, the holdup, one of the big holdups in this, deal between the Packers and the Jets that we all still assume will get done is the Jets' leeriness about Rodgers playing more than one season. Apparently or reportedly, when Rodgers went on Pat McAfee a couple of weeks ago and talked about, I was 90% sure I was retiring when I went into the darkness and I came out wanting to play. That has given the Jets pause as to, why are we only getting him for a year? And here's Joe Douglas, Rob, talking about, he doesn't address that necessarily, but here he is talking about the Rodgers.
First of all, Lamar Jackson's a fantastic player. But where we stand is, it would be disingenuous and negotiating in bad faith if we went down that path. So right now we have our plan, we have our process, and we're sticking to that.
Right. Let me say this, Rob, and and everybody knows that I have said they should be going after Lamar Jackson instead of Aaron Rodgers, and you've echoed that. But now, Rob, when you yourself have questions about Aaron Rodgers playing more than one season, you're concerned about that. Now, I really think you should be going for Lamar. I mean, you're going to have to pay Aaron Rodgers $60 million. You're going to have to give up some picks and, some maybe players to get him. And he might only play one season. Why in the world would you not go after Lamar, who you could sign for 5 seasons, if not more? That's baffling to me, Rob.
I don't know what they're expecting at his age and, where his contract is. I don't even know how they could even – they thought he signed him for a 3-year deal. I mean, that's why it doesn't make any sense, because I don't think they're ready to win, and you just need a quarterback, add water and stir, and you're going to the Super Bowl. So I thought that Lamar would make more sense because you're a younger team trying to build towards something, and maybe it's 3 years from now and you got a shot at a Super Bowl, or 2 years from now. So I don't even understand what they're thinking. Like what did they not look at the price tag before they fell in love with him when they went out to California? Remember, came back and everybody was glowing like they were pregnant or something. I don't know what they were thinking.
I don't get it, man. And look, if I'm a Jet, and I'm not, they'd be foolish to think they're going to be the favorites. But I would take the approach of we can win it this year. If we get Aaron Rodgers with our defense, with Garrett Wilson, with Breece Hall, we're going to improve the offensive line through the draft and maybe some other moves, we can win it. But it's still not likely to happen. And 1 year, Rob, that's what doesn't make, and you said it, he'll be 40 in December. It seems like they don't understand how old he is. And I get it. He's a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson. But is he still a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson? That's a big question. Well, obviously he wasn't great last season. And at his age, I don't assume he's going to turn back I think he'll be better than he was last year. But I can't sit here and say at 40 years old he's going to be the MVP again or, play at that level. But they seem to be all in on that. And my thing is, okay, if this is your guy, then, go ahead and get him. But, Rob, I don't understand, why not at least? And I think, look, Joe Douglas was honest, okay? He was honest. That was great. But you have to be what if it doesn't work out with the Packers? I don't think you're doing your due diligence not to at least put in a call to Lamar Jackson. I don't think that has to be negotiating in bad faith. It can be, look, plan A is get Aaron Rodgers. And plan, if it doesn't work out, we're talking
You always
Lamar.
have to have a plan B. I don't even understand that. That's just What if it doesn't? You remember what the Browns got themselves into, right? And they had no choice. They were pushed up against a wall. And what did they do? They gave Deshaun Watson a fully guaranteed contract because they had no choice. There was nowhere for them to turn. And that's why you can't put it's a cliche. It's the oldest saying in the book, but you can't put all your eggs in one basket, Chris. It's just, It makes total sense. Whoever came up with that saying, it makes 100% logic. You can't.
And it might, and I get, you don't want to, again, I like Joe Douglas being honest, and it wouldn't be fair to Lamar if they don't have any interest and they would just be using.
No, that's different. I
get that. But my
thing
is,
nothing
why
wrong with
don't you
kicking
have
the
interest?
tires, having a conversation. What would it take to make this happen? And then when you get the offer and the Packers won't budge and they want the kitchen sink, then you can make a decision and say, oh, no, we're not doing that.
Right.
We're going to pivot.
That wouldn't, I mean, honestly, and again, like you said, it's not using Lamar. It's saying he's our plan B. And when word gets out that you got a plan B with Lamar Jackson, I bet it changes things with the Packers. Because, Rob, the Jets should call Lamar just to find out what he wants.
Right,
he said, he said, you can't believe everything that's out there. They've said I wanted a fully guaranteed deal. Maybe he does. I don't know. Or maybe he would take $200 million or $230 million fully guaranteed on a longer deal and not get, maybe it's a deal worth $250 million and he gets $230 million guaranteed or $235 million or whatever. I mean, just find out. Find out what he wants. I'm just shocked. I just think, Rob, we've talked about Lamar, and he hasn't, handled this thing with all the right moves, but neither have the Jets. Neither have the Jets.
No, they've been like a
they're playing checkers.
Yeah, they're like a overly hyped schoolgirl. They got all carried away with everything, or they opened up their Christmas present before Christmas. Like they just were premature on a lot of this stuff, and there's a way of playing it not to put yourself in a bad spot where you can't maneuver, you can't do anything else, waiting till the end, waiting till there are no other quarterbacks available. Yep. Like it's like, yo, Packers, if we're doing this during free agency. We're doing it right day one of free agency.
Right.
Either we have a deal or we're not making a deal, because we can't be left in the lurch looking for our next quarterback.
And look, they're the Jets. So, they're the whipping boys. They're not used to being on top. I get all that. But like I said, talk to Lamar. Have a plan B. There's no guarantee this thing is going to work out. So put yourself in a position where either way, at least do your homework on Lamar. At the very least, do your homework on Lamar and find out what he really wants. Because, Rob, he might be so upset with Baltimore that he, will take a different deal than what's been out there and what's been talked about. He might just be so ready to get out of there that he would do something like that. So it doesn't make sense not to call. And again, I respect if they truly have no interest, then I respect the honesty of Joe Douglas. But why don't you have interest? That's what I'm saying.
Right. It doesn't make sense. Why? Right. That's what you can't get past is why wouldn't you have interest?
Absolutely.
Right. You need a quarterback. This guy's a former MVP. He's way younger than the guy that you're currently thinking about. That's all. What would be so wrong to develop with Lamar and build something? Like Lamar, it doesn't mean that if you get Lamar, you can't have the same chance or a close chance, Chris, that Aaron Rodgers gives you. And he's going to be around for year 2 and year 3 and year 4 and year 5. Now what is the difference?
I would argue personally he gives you a better chance next year than Aaron. I mean, but that's just me. Everybody doesn't agree on that. Some people think he's going to have an MVP type season again. But Rob, I think ultimately, Rob, this tells us when we hear owners talk about, I want to win more than anything. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because if you did, Lamar Jackson would be getting some calls. And we've talked, Rob, about Lamar's shortcomings. We're not saying he's Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes. I'm saying but the fact he helps you win. The Baltimore Ravens are not a mediocre but they're a bad football team without him. They win 30% of their games with him. With him, they're a contender. They're a contender. And what I've said all along, and I know, like I said, Lamar's not an elite passer, but I'd also like to see him with an elite receiver. Josh Allen didn't look like an elite passer until Stephon Diggs got there. Everybody is not Patrick Mahomes where they don't need that elite receiver. And he himself has Travis Kelce, who's arguably the greatest tight end ever. So I think Lamar would be great with Garrett Wilson in New York. But again, for you not to even, check on him and see what, the situation is, I just don't. I don't get it. I mean, I do think, Rob, I do think just most of these owners, if not all of them, other than Haslam, they're just against this deal. And I don't think there's been handshake agreements or a big phone call but I just think they all feel that way. And we'll see if one goes rogue.